Rumor has it that many Russian military personnel were exposed to radiation at the Chernobyl station. It's just hard to believe that you need to be so brainless to poke your head into the Chernobyl zone and even into the Red Forest zone. I would like to reflect on the topic of why, in general, the Russians do not know anything about the insidiousness of radiation. For example, soldiers, don't they remember what happened in Chernobyl in 1986? And although it's hard to believe, but yes. So they don't remember. By the way, an American film called Chernobyl is highly recommended for viewing. Released recently on the screens of world cinemas. World, although, in relation to Russia, this is a strong word. After all, in Russia it was never shown. So, what about the global box office? This is certainly not about Russia. After all, as we remember, at the time when the Americans released a series, in Russia they were seriously angry with him and wanted to ban it, and it seems that they banned it. And now, the banned series was replaced with a domestic fake. It seems to be a similar series, but in the Russian manner. You don't even need to watch it to understand that the whole truth was distorted there. Why go far into the forest? And for what purpose could it still be removed? Not for good intentions, though. In a normal country, the series would not be touched and their version would not be filmed over the original. Well, the Americans released a series for themselves, so what? In half a year, everyone will forget about him. But no. There is too much inconvenient truth, and in the best traditions of the USSR immediately ban. Actually, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded for the same reason. Again the USSR, and again they hid the truth. So that history repeated itself. If it were not for the ban on the series, then Russia would not have been Russia, just like the USSR without bans would not have been USSR. How is it written in the Constitution of the Russian Federation? Russia is the successor of the USSR? Soaking up the tragedy at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant means too. This is hereditary in Russia. Well, since the tankers, or who was there in Chernobyl from the military in 2022 during the current war, they simply could not know but what was going on in Chernobyl in general. And let's imagine, would they climb to dig in the Red Forest if all of them watched the series Chernobyl? There are some big doubts about the execution of orders by them if they understood and realized all the horrors of the Chernobyl radiation. Apparently they thought it was some kind of kindergarten. Yeah, of course, the liquidators, who paid with their lives for the liquidation of the accident, apparently also thought maybe that this was a kindergarten. No, they didn't think so, but the Russian military didn't communicate with the liquidators. They don't watch American films either. They also have their own domestic. And in the domestic, nothing is said about the horrors of the Chernobyl accident. It's all pop and beautiful. Well, the military dug in pop, deep, and with enthusiasm, everything, like in Russian cinema, you know the main thing is with pathos. Only Chernobyl does not understand pathos and jokes and does not play in kindergarten. If there was time to study the American series, then this would be clear and obvious. For the main characters of the series, something does not stick to a smile in the face at all. Apparently it was from what? Here are the Russian military, who seemed to plunge into 1986 in the reality show mode. They felt everything for themselves, but they warned fools. Well, a fool, that's why he is a fool, that he wants to check on his own skin, but how is it there? What if it's just as cool as in the pretentious game A Stalker? Well, how is it, eh? Oh, you fools, after all, there will be no liquidationist pension either. The Ukrainian liquidators are at least entitled to pensions, yes, you can't buy a jet plane for them, you can't buy a business class, but nevertheless, the state gave some benefits for the risk and exposure. And the brave military Russian boys, like the liquidators, are also entitled to a prize? There are some serious doubts about this. They were not there, and there was no radiation, just as there was no American TV series. It did not exist at all, so they said in Russia and replaced the real story with their own. And there was no radiation in Chernobyl, is it clear to you? And there is nothing to panic. It is said there is no radiation, it means there is none. I remember the word